First of all, let me introduce. First of all, I'd like to thank a lot of my subs. It's been like a busy off day for me or whatever like that. But this is going to be the third one, as I promised to my subs. My last series last month was kind of short run. White Thugs of Hell series. Well, today, since it's August the 1st, we are well into the Leo. Shout out to all the Leos out there. And I want to introduce the series that I'm running for the month, throughout the month of August. It is honorably titled, My Heroes Don't Appear on No Stamp. And what better way for me to go ahead and set it off than to start off day one of My Heroes Don't Appear on No Stamp. So I'm gonna set it off with this brother here. Y'all know who it is. Former Denver Bronco, former Baltimore Raven, All-Pro, tight end, Hall of Famer, Shannon Sharpe, the younger brother of Sterling Sharpe. You know, I remember Sterling Sharpe because, as a Bears fan, he played for the Green Bay Packers. But nonetheless, like this, Shannon Sharpe, hell of a guy, was on that gridiron. Some people didn't like him because they say, oh, he's got a big mouth, he talks too much. But ever since, you know, his retirement, two-time Super Bowl winner with the Broncos and with the Ravens, and at the same time, you know, he's also now well known on Undisputed, on Fox Sports 1 with Skip Bayless, which to me happen to be the #1 sports media show in the world, you know. And the reason why I picked Shannon Sharpe, and I'm not saying this from a personal standpoint, because yes, I have met this brother. I mean, real down to earth, the guy willing to speak, and man's got a grip like I don't believe. Now I found out why it was hard for DBs to rip that ball out of his hand. But it's not about his acumen on the gridiron, but the reason why Shannon Sharpe like this, despite the fact that, you know, despite the fact that, you know, that his marital status, you know, his girlfriend, wife happened to be Caucasian, I really don't care nothing about that. You know, you can't help who you fall in love with. I really leave that alone. You know how I feel about that. But my thing is like this, despite all that, he's on a show that's ran by Fox. And at the same time, he ain't doing, Shannon Sharpe, as long as I've been watching Undisputed, he ain't doing no buck dancing, he ain't doing no cooning, he ain't soft shoeing, he ain't doing nothing like that. Because, you know, even in the world of sports that they talk about, you know, he always bring it when it comes down to race, when it comes down to social injustice, racial injustice, especially being standing up for the black community. And how he's putting a lot of these suspected white supremacists who come onto the show, like Joel Cleater, or some of these buck dancing Sambos like Lil Wayne and recently Ray Lewis. Yuck. You know, Shannon Sharpe to me, man, is, but his psychology, his logic, common sense way of thinking, is really refreshing. I mean, you know, like I say, he is to us, he's a cure to us to what Stephen A. Smith and that oversized blob of oil that sits over there on Suck for Yourself, Jason Whitlock, is a cancer to the black community. You know, we know Shannon Sharpe happens to be a stern supporter for Colin Kaepernick. We also know Shannon Sharpe to be a big fan of LeBron James, for all you LeBron lovers, you know. But when this man speaks, and he speaks volumes, I mean, the frequency and the vibration that we get from Shannon Sharpe is like unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? We know for a fact, you gonna know this, hey, this dude for real. Real, recognized real. Okay? That's just going plain and simple. You know, I can't, and you know, he still does get out there, continue to do what he does, because he's very intelligent, like, and very, very cerebral on both fronts, whether it's about sports or whether it's about politics. You know, Shannon keep it 100. And see, like, to be honest with you, since this show been on, the chemistry between Shannon and Skip Bayless, and yeah, I still say Skip Bayless is a SWS, but at the same time, though, they feed off each other, and they kind of, in a way, it kind of forced Skip Bayless, even though he's in his 70s, to kind of step his acumen up. And that little dialogue they had, how he went at Ray Lewis for that buck dancing that he did. Even Skip Bayless even looked at Ray Lewis side eye and called him out on his BS, as well as he called Steve Bisciotti out on their BS, which ain't nothing but lip service, which is code meaning y'all just all talk, you know. But Shannon Sharpe, you know, he gets my vote. He gets my thing on top of this, like so and so. But he's also done this on the field too during his playing days. He even confronted well-known racist and one of his teammate at the time with the Broncos during the 90s, racist Polak, Bill Romanowski, who made my list of white thugs of hell. You know, Bill Romanowski, ex-49er, ex-Bronco, ex-Raider, ex-Eagle, or whatever. You know, Mr. Steroid taking, the same guy who spit in the mouth of J.J. Stokes on Monday Night Football. He referred to Cam Newton in a tweet as boy. You know, Bill Romanowski, and Shannon stepped to him and confronted him. He said, "Did you or did you not say those terms? Say that epithet?" You know, Shannon Sharpe was never the one to basically back down or basically like that. Shannon Sharpe always spoke his mind. That's how I looked at Shannon Sharpe. A lot of other people, we watch Shannon, we say like, "Oh, well, he talked too much. Oh, he got a big mouth. Da 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 da." But he backs it up. Whether it was on that field, and he could back it up, what he can do now. Besides, if you ever met him, would you want to step to Shannon Sharpe and want to challenge him to a one-on-one? Would you want to step it up and challenge him to a one-on-one? Go ahead, I'll wait. Besides, you know, he basically ethered Ray Lewis, man. I mean, ethered him decently. Ate him up. But despite the fact, here's the question that I got a lot from some of the people that's in the so-called coonchious community and stuff like that. That like, oh, well, you know, his girlfriend having to be a Caucasian and so-and-so like this, he can't speak on black. Well, here's my thing when it comes to that. You know, the question that y'all want to answer. Can a brother or sister, for that matter, that is involved in an interracial relationship, can still get out there and stand up for their people, even though they're personally involved monogamous in a monogamous relationship with somebody of another race? And I say the answer is yes, they can. You know, because see, that spouse gonna see, like, you know, that's who his people is, that's his heritage, that's who he gonna stand up for. You know, in some cases, some people won't understand that. Shoot, I done seen what Shannon Sharpe does spoke up for a lot of people. You know, he spoke highly of LeVar Ball. He speaks highly of LeBron James. Speaks very highly of Colin Kaepernick. And would challenge anybody. Just like when it comes down to the police brutality. Like how he shut up Joe, what's his face? I just mentioned the dude. About like why Colin Kaepernick refused to stand up for the national anthem. And to tell you the truth, I don't think no black person in America should be standing up for that racist song. Okay? Because on the top of that, thanks to Colin Kaepernick and thanks to Shannon Sharpe, a lot of us wouldn't have never known about who was Francis Scott Key. If you want to know about him, go to my man Taurine Rain's YouTube channel, and you look up his White History Month. He mentions Francis Scott Key in there. You know, we wouldn't have never known about the fourth stanza if it weren't for Shannon, because Shannon had a broader audience, had a broader platform. He could reach a broader audience more than Kaepernick could. You know? And see, the thing about with Shannon, like, you know, like I say, and I can relate to a lot to Shannon because, you know, because he, you know, people don't realize he was raised in the South. You know, he was born in the South, but he was raised up in Chicago, which mostly you know, a lot of black people, shout out to my people in the Chi-Town, you know, most of the black people who live in Chicago got relatives that are from the South, whether you from Florida, whether you from Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Tennessee, you know, the Carolinas. You know, that's just like this. It is what it is like that. Because Shannon uses logic and he uses common sense, and he does his homework. You know. Now I know a lot of them coons and them buck dancers. You know, you know, they probably hate on Shannon, but at the same time, they ain't got no comeback for him, because guess what? Shannon stands on the side of righteousness and truth, and on top of that, facts which is accurate, not skewed statements like Marcellus Wiley be doing. You know, Shannon Sharpe is definitely a blessing, like, to us. And me personally, I kind of glad I had the pleasure to meet him, and look forward to meeting him again. You know, even if he hears this video or watches it or whatever, you know, I wouldn't mind meeting him one more time though. You know what I'm saying? Just if I could spend 5 minutes with him, you know, just talking to him. If it was Colin Kaepernick, I would like spend 30 minutes with him, or an hour. There's so much we could go ahead and talk about. And it's the same thing I would do with other people. With like Umar Johnson, you know, Tariq Nasheed. I can go on and on. But I like Shannon's cerebralness. He's cerebral. Now some of my subs, when they watch my videos and stuff like that, I can go real deep when I want to. But that's always I try to do. I can get real cerebral as well. You know. Barred from the profane and all that stuff, that part, that's just me. That's me speaking out of passion. That's me speaking out of reality. You know, my vernacular is never going to change on that, nor will my stance will ever be softened when it comes down to battling these Caucasian terrorists and they pet bootlicks. And I'm glad this brother here is not part of that crowd. So, for the pilot edition, for the pilot episode of MyHerus Don't Appeal No Stamp, the first one goes to Shannon Sharpe. Thank you, brother.